Hey, and welcome back to Renee Ruth Real Estate. I'm your host, Fred Jackson, and I'm with my guest and my co-star and the star of the show,
And
and
all of it,
the CEO.
Renee Ruth. I was like, how many more names does he have? The queen.
I was gonna give you like a running list of credits, you know.
I was like, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah. How's your day been?
It's going good. How about you?
Doing good.
Good.
Just another day in the neighborhood.
Yeah. You have any open houses or showings or anything today?
Showings. We were out. No, I had to drop off a lockbox for a new listing I got coming.
All right.
You might be interested in that open house. Yeah. But yeah, new listings coming, which equals a lot of hustle to get stuff set up for it. But yeah. Fun agent stuff, speaking of. It has something to do with what we're talking.
That kind of just segued into what we're going to be discussing.
Which is?
The truth about being a real estate agent, okay? And I know for me, since I'm new in the industry, that, I was maybe thinking, I get to be my own boss. I get to set my schedule. I'm going to book when I'm going to go on vacation this time, and I'm just going to do all of these things. And it turns out, nope, that is not the case.
I was actually, when I was putting this together, I was thinking about how I think a lot of people look at us as agents and think that, they're always at happy hour, or they're like that we're just hanging out having a good time. And it's like, oh, it's so easy to be an agent. And also, like through the pandemic, I think there was this idea like it was quick money.
Yeah.
Like there's just a hustle, they make really good money.
Yeah.
Like it's easy, quick money. And,
right.
I was lucky that when I came in, I was told by another agent, like, this is work. And it is so hard. So I didn't come in with like, if I had any illusions, they were shattered before I even opened the door to it. But I hear a lot, and it's not just hearing. I've been working with agents abroad. When you start as an agent, and it's not even necessarily because I don't think an agent doesn't want to work. It's because you don't have somebody you're working for. There's no you don't walk in and here's your job for today. Like there's no book or training manual on what to do. So you wake up the first day as an agent, you're like, so what should I do today?
Right, yeah.
Where are my clients? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're going. Like, so we want to share with you guys today a couple of the fallacies of what you might think it is to be an agent, and then I'll explain kind of the way it actually is. And Fred can kind of echo it now because you've been in it for a hot minute.
Yeah, I have. I have. It's definitely not what everyone thinks it is. It's definitely, and I didn't really have those thoughts because I've seen Renee over the last 5-6 years. I had seen the hustle. I had seen, hey, I'm not getting back home until 9-10 o'clock because I'm all the way wherever you are showing houses and everything, especially in the summertime, what I'm saying, So, it's just one of the things where it would be a nice way to explain to new agents or just people in general who think, like you said, we're always at a happy hour or we're still working.
We do go to happy hour.
We do go to happy hour, but we're still working.
The phone is going off. We probably just came from a showing, and we carved out the 2 hours before we have to go to a showing. It's not as glamorous as it seems.
Yeah. So, what is like? Do you have like a morning routine, or what is like a day? Like, how do you get your day started? Like
that. What's so funny is I've talked to so many agents, especially when they came in, because they did what every smart person should do, and you find a person that's doing what you want to do and is very good at it, and ask them what they're doing. The problem is, when I was trying to explain to them a day, I was like, but my day now doesn't look anything like my day did when I first started. Right? Because there's an evolution in this career, which is great, because when you first start, it's a lot of grunt work. But that grunt work, and by that I mean, so my average day probably was scrambling every Monday to find an open house, because I had been taught and told, that your best chance of finding clients is to be in at home on Sunday and meet people looking to buy a house. That is your best chance. And then I learned through the process of elimination that, like, because I got so excited when I got to do my first open house at like a $500,000 house. No, that's not a good open house, because 500,000, most people in our area can't. That's way above budget. And so it was very underattended. And then the ones that were coming, typically in that range, you've had to sell a home to buy a home, or you have to, you know what I'm saying? Like so they have an agent already. So it was not a waste of time, but now I don't really do the higher end ones. I'm looking for like the townhouses or the 200,000 to now 300,000. Yeah. Back when I started, 200 was the 150 to 200 was the starter range.
Right.
Now 250 to 300.
Yeah. I'm coming in and first home-time buyers 289, 300K.
I said congratulations, guys. I was pulling 150s all day. Although your first one was 150.
So yeah, and so now let's just look at, like, how do you manage your schedule? Okay, like time management, or who do you prioritize, or like is there anything like that? Any little secret gems you can give us?
Secret tricks. So first, I actually was on a call with some of the South Africans. They're these young guys that just started. If you're listening, I love you. But they were like, I'm so excited. We just figured out what we're going to have our business card look like. And I'm just hearing all this marketing stuff that they're super excited about. And I was like, so at first I was like, yeah, that's so great. And then they kept talking. I'm like, okay, but what did you guys do last week? Work related, right? Like that is work related. And I told Noni, because culturally, I don't know if South Africans know the phrase "come to Jesus," but I had to come to Jesus with the boys, and I was like, "All right, guys, let me tell you this." I said, if you had a day job or another job, you showed up and you put in hours, and when you put in hours, the boss didn't think you were going to go and clean your kitchen and do laundry and like run errands while you're at work. You actually had to work. And I told the guys, I'm like, you should wake up, have your coffee, and then you should treat this like a job. You are yourself's boss. And you have to say, I have to go to work from 8 till 5. And that's what I did. Well, so I did that at first. So like I said, on Monday, I was looking for open houses. And then on Tuesday, I was working on social media to try and find, I was in rental groups. Like at the time, back then, I don't know what it's like in the groups now, because again, I graduated, but like in the rental groups, I would go in and friend people, or because I think at the time I didn't have to friend people still. We're talking 7 years ago. I think you could actually just message them and it would show up. Yeah. Like as an unknown message or something. And now it's like this hidden thing that they have to find you. But they would, I'd say, hey, I see you're looking to rent. Like, did you know you might be able to buy for less than what it costs you to rent? And I would send message after message to these people, and I get I'm renting because my credit sucks, or and at the time I had free time, and I said, oh, your credit. So I partnered with a lender, and I was like, oh, I know credit. The good thing about credit, so the lender, Stephanie, used to always just be like, the good thing about credit is you can always go up. Right, yeah. So she's really good at like the silver lining. Like, there's a way to do, out of this. And so I would try to get them to talk to her. So like I just basically spent Tuesday through Friday and Saturday. If I couldn't get an open on Saturday, I would try to do Saturday and Sunday if I could. Yeah. But I'd spend Tuesday through Friday sifting through groups of people that were looking, and then I took a class. I took a class on Facebook marketing, but not with the intent of branding, and this is the colossal joke. Like everyone gets into real estate, they're like, I want to create a brand for myself. And the thing is like, that's cool. And you should, but your brand should be, I work hard. Yeah. Because once that, like, if you just work hard, then eventually your brand will develop. And then when you make those business cards, it matters because people are looking for you. When you first start out, a business card is really just a calling card. Like, I am who I say I am. Like, hi, nice to meet you. This is me. It's not, oh, this is going to get me business. Right. That's not the way that works. And so I definitely, and then I was in the open house, and I would just, and the open houses, like when I first started, I was so gung ho. I used to go buy balloons, and I would tie them to the for sale sign in the yard. So I'd buy like because you just heard people talking about what you should do.
Yeah.
You should do balloons. You should do. I used to stop at Kroger, so I would go to Kroger on the way to the open house, and I buy balloons and I buy cookies, and I bought I made this like really welcoming thing, but it was funny because quickly I realized like everyone that came in that nobody wanted a cookie, and I was like, why am I buying these cookies? I can't even eat them. I was like. So I stopped with the cookies, but the balloons I did for a little while. But then they kept floating away, and I was like, I'm birds and whatever. So yeah. I gave up on the balloons, but then I found my own way. Like, so it turned into like a sign that I had, and then I would always do a virtual tour of the house, and I was ready when people came in, to get names and numbers. And I had this my elevator speech prepared, so when they came in, like I had my quick like get them to know like and trust me in 30 seconds or less, and just like all the things that I had learned over my life, and then talking to other successful agents to implement into these open houses. And that was literally work for me, so yeah. I remember one of the things I used to do, because it was so hard to get started. Like I remember just days of like getting nowhere. Like, and I remember I would go for a walk at the park. I would take my dog and I would just walk through the park. And it's so funny because I would go around lunch hour, like on a break.
Yeah.
And I would see all these businessmen getting out their cars in their suits and walking. And then later I read somewhere in some success magazine that that's something that people do to clear their head and like reset.
Yeah.
And to be able to go back and be,
Yep.
And I just instinctively was like, I have to go to the park. Just like, I have to take a walk. Like, it was just, you're grinding on a computer. Like you're grinding, trying to find someone. Like I equate it to like, I told the little guys in South Africa, I'm like, it's like an Easter egg hunt, because Easter had just passed. I was like, it's like an Easter egg hunt. I'm like, you are looking for the eggs in the city. They're out there. Golden eggs, golden ticket. You're looking for that person who didn't know they could buy, who didn't know they wanted to buy, who didn't know they needed to sell, who you happened to walk in just when they found out they were losing their job and they had to move to another state. And here you are. Like, this is how magic happens, and it happens all the time, but it doesn't happen if you don't open your mouth.
Yep.
And so that's what it was, me running my mouth for days. And I literally, as far as open houses were concerned, I knew I would be in them for at least a year. But I used to say this, I'm like, so I have to be somewhere on a weekend for 8 hours. That's my time commitment.
Yeah.
When a job was like 40, like I have to show up somewhere for 8 hours twice. Like, why would I complain about
that? Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that helps anybody, but that was as far, like, so much has happened since then. Like, I'm really reaching into the depths of my memories to like, what did I do every day?
So what do you say to the people just getting in, and they want to utilize their social media? So, it's like maybe Facebook, IG, Twitter, they got, thousands of plus people, maybe even tens of thousands of folks. And they want to capitalize on their followers. How can they transition and capture people interest to a home?
Okay, so if you can get into, so there's a app called Udemy, Udemy, and they're fairly cheap, and they have sales all the time. But they have like, you can take a class on like Instagram if that's your platform, Facebook if that's your platform. I think they even like have a Snapchat one, but like they'll coach you on how to leverage those things for branding. And the reason I say that is I've had so many agents that have come into the business, and some I brought in myself, who literally thought they would just post that they were agent and people would come. And it's not fair to laugh, because they really think that. And the laughing is more because I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have just said, change status to I'm a realtor. My phone started ringing. But there's really that impression that like, oh, I'm just going to post houses and I'll get leads. And I can't stress this enough. If you knew about Facebook algorithms or the algorithms on social media at all, one, they're controlled by something, and it's not us.
Right.
And if you looked, I know enough about the research I've done on Facebook that if you look into Facebook, your post is only visible as for about 60 seconds. Like, so you think when someone posts and you're scrolling in your mini feed, it shows up, but you're scrolling and then it goes away. If no one likes or comments on your post, it's gone forever.
Yeah.
So have you noticed how all of a sudden, like some rando is in your profile and liking stuff from like 2 years ago, and all of a sudden it's surfacing again, this photo from 2 years ago, and other people started commenting on it because it came back up from 2 years ago? It's because somebody brought it back into the algorithm. So the algorithm is this emotionless thing that just moves content. So if I share this to say, if you're thinking about your business, your wall is not a place to generate business. Do you want to know where you get business? And this is true whether you are on a computer, in an open home, walking down the street, at the grocery store. I used to tell people, when you're standing in line, strike a conversation up with the person behind you.
Yeah.
Hey, how's your day? Cool. Because you're standing in line, you're all looking at this, nothing to do.
Waiting to get checked out.
You just don't know. Like some girl on Facebook or Starbucks, I was in there and she's like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Who does it? And I was like, oh, da-da-da. What are you doing in town? Oh, we're looking for a house. If you would just have a conversation with everybody.
Yeah.
That's how doors open. And so on Facebook, like if you want to make money in your business on Facebook, posts are great. I mean, I'm not saying not to make them. Don't put any weight in them. The only thing that matters, if someone likes or comments on it, thank them and then send them a private message. You have to do a one-on-one. Hey, thank you so much for liking my post. You see, I'm an agent. Do you know anyone in your family or friends or in your area that's looking to buy or sell? I've got buyers who need a home. I've got, you know what I'm saying? Like, not like I need you to do this. I'm just, could you help?
Yep.
And I think 9 times out of 10 with humanity, if you ask for help, people will still do that. They still want to help. So that's where the money is. Like it's literally so fun fact about South Africa, because the cultures are so different. They can't do open houses. It's dangerous there. It's so dangerous. So, and people are very hesitant to there's just the climate's just not safe in a lot of places. But they have, I guess they have a lot of like buildings, apartments type buildings, and they have doormen at these buildings. And so the agent in South Africa was telling the boys, you need to get a cold drink. They call it a cold drink. You need to get a cold drink. You need to take it to the doorman and become friends with the doorman, because the doormen know everything. They know who's moving in, who's moving out, they know who's looking to buy. If you become friends with those doormen and get to know them. So we had a long conversation about what that looked like. I said, guys, don't walk and hand their card and walk away. I said, go up to those doormen. I said, next week I want to know how many kids they got, how long they had that job. I said, I want you to tell me about these doormen. Like I was going to go meet them myself and we were all friends. And they were like, okay. So do you know, I found out today that they went and did that, and they found a doorman who they clicked with. They brought him cold drink because it's so hot in South Africa. That's like a here you're standing outside in the heat, here's a cold drink. And they chatted up, and he's like, oh, I will 100% got their numbers, so they let him know anything he hears about, and they were so excited. But that wouldn't have happened making business cards.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yep. Man. Well, I believe that's all.
Is that all? Well, I got something for you.
You got something for me?
I got something for you. So we used to do fun facts with Chad. It was quite this little ordeal, but I told Fred instead, I'm going to come with a fun fact for you guys. Now, Fred doesn't know what this is, and I've looked it up. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Fun fact about real estate. Okay. Did you know? That's how we'll start these. Did you know that 1 in 10 Americans sell their homes due to paranormal activity?
Really?
Do that math. 1 in 10? Paranormal activity. I'm going to tell you what, though. If stuff started moving in my house, I think I'd be out too. And I can tell you, I've been in homes that my friends have owned, and I have heard and seen things where I'm like, how do you live here? Like, what was that? They're like, oh, it's just the ghost upstairs. I don't even mean the ghost upstairs.
Yeah.
1 in 10, Fred.
That's crazy.
Have you ever owned a home with crazy things? See? No. Because I wouldn't stay in it. So maybe it is 1 in 10. Anyway, that's your fact for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.